Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Patrick Jordan, and welcome to our Friday night episode of Alone Together Pittsburgh, Alone Together Streaming. We are coming to you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, all across the world on the Information Superhighway. If this is your first time watching, thank you for joining us. We are wrapping up week 17 of this show, episode 59. 5 episodes in 17 weeks. I can't believe we're here. When we started the show, we did not expect to get past 12 episodes. It was just going to be basically bands and a couple of interviews here and there, and it evolved. We started doing the show in this format the day that the original shelter-in-place order came down from the state. It was sometime in March. And we've been doing it ever since. We did it as a way to keep a sense of community going for everybody while they were kind of sheltering in place. We were thinking that our days were numbered on this show, and we were starting to fade out when things kind of went to green. We thought we were trending in the right direction. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be doing the show for a little longer because it appears we seem to be backsliding right now. So we're technically not green anymore. I feel like it's more of like an olive greenish yellow, or baby poop green is what our current COVID color chart is if you talk to the boys in the booth. So there you have that. But we've tried to have as many people on the show as we can from every walk of life, from actors, artists, musicians, painters, sculptors, dancers, to business owners, lawyers, accountants, which was an important episode, life coaches, psychiatrists, doctors, nurses. We've had just about everything and everything in between on the show talking about things. So things are kind of rough right now. Let me get to some housekeeping here, some fun stuff here that we've got going on with the show. It's called the Jagoff poll, the Jagoff bracket poll. So when we started this show, it was March Madness had just been canceled. Everyone wanted to do their bracket polls. We said, we'll do a Pittsburgh-centric one. Now, Jagoff is not a derogatory term the way we're using it in this sense. These aren't like a bunch of Jagoffs that are in this thing, even though, they might be. So we have a Jagoff poll. You can see it. It's on the site. You can see it on Facebook and stuff. We'll be updating it. There's about 6 or 7 victories that have happened on this poll that haven't been updated from what you see right here. But you can see round 1. and round 2 showdowns. We are like, I think we have 5 or 6 left in round 2 before we get to the Sweet 16. So there's everything from the parking chair to Mr. Yuck sticker and everything in between. Dave, are you going to talk to me? I thought.
Oh, Patrick, I'm going to talk to you. I love talking to you. I look forward to these times.
Okay, so let's talk about this poll, my friend. The overnight poll from last night to tonight, the big dog, the big jagoff poll was, if I'm not mistaken, Silence of the Lambs versus Donnie Iris.
That's right. Silence of the Lambs versus Donnie Iris. 2 of my favorite things. And you know what? I heard on the street people were like, hey, man, that's not even right. How do I do this? What are the instructions to that? But you know what? It's a metaphor for life, baby, the jagoff.
I like it. So if you don't know who Donnie Iris is, or you don't know what Silence of the Lambs is, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Don't eat a big dinner before listening or watching either of them, I would say.
All right. So now Donnie Iris is an icon of the Pittsburgh music scene. He destroyed the Clarks in the overnight poll when he first went. It was the Clarks versus Donnie, and Donnie ran away with it. But last night it might have been weighted because last night we had 2 film makers and aficionados in Chris Ivey and Steve-O Paris. And Steve-O had actually worked on Silence of the Lambs. So it might have swung it. I don't know what it is. But we also did show an entire muted Donnie Iris video so they wouldn't boot us off of YouTube. Dave, what happened?
Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Steve-O put his hand on the weight of justice, and Silence of the Lambs just eked it out at the end, man. Just eked it out. Silence of the Lambs, 60% to 40%.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Silence of the Lambs moves on to the Sweet 16. I can't tell you who they're going to go up against yet because I don't have the poll in front of me, but it's going to be somebody amazing because they will have gone through 2 different hurdles. Now, the Jagoff poll is brought to you by Engine House 25 Wineries. They're one of our sponsors. Engine House 25 Wineries, located in the Strip District, where Strip District meets Lawrenceville, right in Doughboy Square. They have over 10 different varieties of reds. They have Chardonnay. They also have Rosé and everything in between. They are still doing curbside. You don't have to wait. You go to eh25.com. You pick out your wine that you want. They bring it out to you. Mask, gloves. They're neat freaks over there. It is also home to the Roberto Clemente Museum and Lola's Eatery. So check that out. Lola's is doing takeout. The Clemente Museum, I have no clue what's going on with them and how they're dealing with this right now. But you can go to the website eh25 and find out everything else. Engine House 25 is also sponsoring a little thing we call the Lil Jagoff. Okay? The Lil Jagoff is our in-show poll live for our viewing audience only. Okay? So, you get to vote for it. If you're watching this thing, if you're watching this thing and it's not live, which people tend to do, and we also have a podcast which you can listen to the show if you don't want to just look at this beautiful mug here, being sarcastic. But the in-show poll has become like kind of a more popular thing than the overnight because the Little Jagoff poll is like the JV squad, and we have 2 sections waiting. So all these winners from the Little Jagoff poll will do battle to try to get the last 2 slots in the Big Jagoff poll. That's right, folks. So these guys are vying for it. Now, the winner from Wednesday goes up against the winner from Thursday. So tonight, the showdown is between the Pierogi Race and St. Elmo's Fire. Now, you're sitting at home right now. You're like, I know the Pierogi Race at the Pirate Games is as Pittsburgh as you get. What is going on with this St. Elmo's Fire thing? It was probably in some like Massachusetts town with the Brat Pack. Carl Kurlander from Pittsburgh wrote St. Elmo's Fire. And Carl was on the show on Wednesday, so we had him do like a little, had to choose between his 2 children's thing, little Sophie's Choice action. There's Carl with little Schumacher, little Joel Schumacher. Also, they worked on DC Cab together, as you can see that. Fantastic. How that thing didn't get an Oscar, I'll never know. Mr. T is probably his 2nd best film role. Nothing's going to top Clubber Lang. Nothing. I don't know if Mr. T made more than 2 movies, but number 1, Rocky 3. So, get to voting right now. Dave, are we live?
What? Live on the internet?
for the poll, the voting.
Oh,
on
oh
Facebook.
yeah. Oh, yes, we are.
You're so-
Facebook poll is right now, folks. Get on it. This is, you know what I mean? What do? There's no sports. You got to tune in to the only contest that matters, the Jag-Off.
Little Jag Off time, also brought to you by Engine House 25, eh25.com. So, before we move on to our first guest, we've got a great show for you tonight. Okay, you're going to want to stay for the whole thing. I promise. What is this name? I guess this is a carryover from last night. Dave keeps changing my name in a positive way. That means Pittsburgh can get it in a positive way. So, okay. So as you know, that the new orders are going into effect, I think tonight. Restaurants cannot have any indoor seating for a couple of weeks. Everything has to be outdoor seating, and everyone needs to wear a mask 24/7. While you're sitting outside at the table in the outside dining, you need to wear your mask except when you're eating and drinking. So everyone is supposed to be masked up top to bottom. The branding and the messaging on this, I think, has gotten a lot of people confused. But there's one thing that you should not be confused about. When wearing a mask, it should cover your nose and your mouth. Now, thank you for wearing a mask. It doesn't go down around your chin. It doesn't go right here. Full coverage, okay? That's just something that needs to be said. Pete made, look, there it is, perfect. This dog knows the difference, okay? This is the things that you need to do. Now, I'm saying this because I went out tonight to pick up some takeout. Now, I'm trying to support restaurants. I'm trying to support everything right now. If you're doing takeout, please do. The restaurants need your help. They need that to survive. Also, if you haven't done it before, you should probably tip on your takeout. Tip on takeout, tip on delivery, tip as much as you can, because they really need this money to keep this thing going. But so I went to a place, shall remain nameless. I went into this place. There was social distance. You had to wear a mask. The sign was on the door. I did not feel uncomfortable going into the place. There was about 8 people working behind the line. You're like right there in the kitchen where they're doing it. Everyone was wearing masks and gloves. And then one person turned around and the mask was down here. The nose was out. And I thought, oh, maybe that's a quick thing. So as I was there, the mask stayed down the whole time. So this is driving me crazy. Now, everybody else there, gloved, masked, everything looked okay. But there was with the nose. Now, what people don't realize, this is another messaging thing. You got to get that coverage, okay? You got to put the mask on. Now, everybody outside dining at this restaurant and the place next to it, nobody had a mask on, okay? So everybody was like hanging out. They were outside. Oh, also, you're not supposed to be able to smoke e-cigarettes or cigarettes in public spaces right now. That's been vetoed in Allegheny County as well. So people were smoking and just kind of hanging out, looking at me funny at one place because I had a mask on. But that said, when you put on a mask, it covers your whole face. It kind of drove me crazy because I was like, do I call this out or what's going to happen? So I just kind of was just pissed, and I'm saying here right now. So that's it. So if you're forgetting, our mantra on this show is to put on a mask. Okay. Just Bruce Springsteen says it. You know, we have Bruce called into the show and he told us this. He said one thing.
Put on
a fucking mask, Patrick. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Put on Clarence up in the sky.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. I've gone too long. Put on a mask. Wash your hands. Be ready to do this. The next 2 weeks. That's how it is. You're not supposed to be smoking e-cigarettes or cigarettes outside. If you're gonna be, even if you're outside, you're still supposed to be masked up. Let's just kind of get through this because I'm terrified. Our numbers have been we've been over 100 for like 8 days now. We've been teetering between 180 and 230 in Allegheny County. I think Pennsylvania for the first time today went over 1,000 new cases for the first time since the beginning of this. So we're trending in the wrong direction. And what's going to end up happening is they might have to shut this whole thing down again, which I'm terrified about, which nobody wants, but it seems to be what's going on right now. So we need to wise up. We need to get things going. I think Pete was going to go to Kennywood tomorrow. Pete, are you going to Sandcastle tomorrow? Pete, are you
Pete's
still-
not here, man.
Oh, okay. I thought Pete was going to Sandcastle tomorrow. Okay, well, when he gets here, we'll talk that out. But I've gone on too long here. I almost started to grind my gears, but I didn't. Okay, so thank you for watching. We're all in this together. Pete, you are here. Are you going to
I am here.
Sandcastle
Sorry,
tomorrow still, or
I'm
no?
all discombobulated. Hold on.
It's okay. Are you still planning on going to Sandcastle tomorrow?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay. You were a lazy river guy. Okay, good. All right. So Sandcastle and Kennywood are opening tomorrow, and I'm thinking, okay, it's outdoors. Let's see how that goes. It's gonna be all right. And then as it drops back, somebody's suing Sandcastle and Kennywood and Idlewild Park because for the Americans Against Disabilities Act from their policy of people having to wear masks. So that's the. You want to add to that, Pete, before we bring out Nat?
Well, I drove by Kennywood today, and Kennywood was open for the VIPs, and there were people there.
It's
I
just
don't know why.
It's just a reaction when you see
I
when you
don't
see
know
like
why.
Kennywood's open. I look down and I'm
Right.
like,
It was there. People
Okay.
were there. I saw people in lines. What's the roller coaster that's kind of right by the road?
the laser loop.
No, this isn't the 1980s, Patrick.
Oh god,
You know what I'm talking about? The blue one, the
rotor.
skyrocket or something, maybe.
the log jammer.
Rest in peace.
I know the one you're talking about. Yeah,
Dave, do you have that log jammer film for?
no, let's just not do that. All right, but yeah, I'm just so I'm just so confused about what I mean. Everybody's confused. I think there's a messaging. There's something missing in messaging. You're hearing it's coming from the top. You've got basically, the head doctor, and you're hearing like Anthony Fauci is saying one thing, and then coming from the White House is saying like it's all good. You know what I mean? Like everything's fine, everything's great. So the other thing, a horrible statistic was that people don't think about is like nurses and doctors that are on the front lines of this thing. They're catching it too because they still don't have PPE, right? And we could have, if we had done the defense, if we had basically done the Defense Powers Act and started making this stuff 2 months ago, they would be stocked up. But right now, like I think 150 nurses have passed away from this right now so far across the board. That's just not. Anyway, I could go on about this, but we've got a show to do. Things are happening. Mandy wants to know why are they even open, but she
idea.
does miss the log jammer, but not enough to die. So, okay.
And it was so weird to see it open today when I drove by. I was just in awe. But I'll shut up so we can get on with the show.
Yeah, okay.
because that's
So
what Dave
so
wants.
basically, we've got Dave Bracey coming up. We've got Natalie Bensavenga is going to be coming up in a second, and the band. Pete, I'm very excited about. We have a band that I first saw at Petonkatonk.
Yeah, Big Blitz. They're killer. They're young kids. They're insane 3-piece, super psychedelic.
Well, we're going to see
heavy.
them, but first, we've got Natalie Bensavenga in 5 minutes with. So, Natalie, do we have Natalie here? Let's see what she has to come up with. Let's see the clip. Alone Together Pittsburgh.
Hey everyone, I'm Natalie Bensavenga, host of 5 Minutes With, and this week I am so lucky to have Monica Ruiz, the executive director of Casa San Jose, with me. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Natalie.
Can you tell us a little bit about what Casa San Jose is?
Sure. Casa San Jose is a nonprofit organization. We're located in the South Hills here in Pittsburgh, and we work with immigrants primarily from Mexico, Central, and South America.
And Monica, when you and I had a few conversations earlier in the year, and we'd ended up talking about ICE and the impact that ICE is having on our communities. And now with the Black Lives Matter movement, with these conversations around police brutality, defunding police departments, can you talk a little bit about the importance of connecting that correlation to ICE and what should be done because these conversations are finally being had very openly.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have to start thinking about the root causes of why things are happening, right? And a lot of it is either systemic racism or the oppression of people of color, right? And so when you have police departments that are supposed to protect and serve, and they're absolutely not doing that because their beliefs are deeply rooted in racism, that's when we have the problems that we have right now, right? We can't sit here and talk about, there are these good officers and these good officers. Good officers become really bad when they're entrenched in this lifestyle and this culture that they're thrown into once they join these police departments. And you can see that more and more often when people are just afraid to speak up when things are happening. And it's the same thing with ICE. Let's not forget, ICE didn't exist before 2003, right? So we had a world where ICE didn't exist, and we can have a world where it doesn't exist, again. And so this is the type of world that we're talking about when we think about the correlations of what the job of police are supposed to do and what they're actually doing, right? And so we can live in a society where the police can actually do what they're supposed to do, as long as they have the resources in the community for folks to survive.
Yeah, and talking a little bit more about ICE, I don't think people understand how this organization is terrorizing communities of immigrants and people of color. Can you talk a little bit about the work on the ground that you're doing with these immigrant communities and what you're seeing?
Yeah, so again, ICE started in 2003, and it was a combination of things. Most importantly was the attacks of 9/11, and I served as the agency where if people needed to be removed from the country, then that's it's Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They enforce that. Under the Obama administration, he actually started deporting people, right? So this was a whole way of people being targeted, removed from their homes, and actively deported. And so this current administration has taken that 10.0, right? And so this is people who are living their everyday lives, who are driving to work, who are taking their kids to school, who are living amongst us, our neighbors, our family members, who at any given time cannot come home from work, and their children will be left alone. And that's just, it's this fear. It's this fear that parents have when they leave their house every morning, knowing that there's a good possibility that they won't come back. And their kids know that, right? And so we think about our kids, like kids have enough problems as it is, right? Going to school and all these other issues and looking different and being different, especially in such a honestly racist community that we live in here. And imagine being on top of that, the fear of not knowing whether or not your parents were coming home. It's not good.
And that's why I wanted to talk to you about this, because I feel like we need to humanize this conversation, because I think people just hear these buzzwords in media and they're not recognizing that these are your neighbors, these are your families, these are people that are contributing to the economy, to the communities that they live in. And these are not disposable individuals.
And I say it all the time. It's, so many folks that are immigrants, they come here and they do this crazy thing. They work and they start businesses. And when you have a business, you can hire people. And so they employ people, many of which are American, and they do, they bring a lot of vibrancy to different neighborhoods. And, people don't understand that. They think that it's somebody, that's a criminal that, is hiding under a rock and doing, that's not what these folks are.
No. And so in terms of what can we do to support Casa San Jose and these efforts to bring attention to these causes and perhaps someday dismantle ICE?
Yeah, I would love, yes, that's the goal, right?
That's the goal.
Definitely, folks, we have a newsletter that goes out. It goes out every 2 weeks, and there's always a call to action there. So really putting the pressure on our elected officials and really learning what this is all about, educating yourself so that you can have those conversations, right? Because for every conversation that I have to tell you how absolutely wrong the narrative is, there's 10 other people telling you that the narrative is correct, that immigrants are bad. And so how can we educate ourselves and not be afraid to share those stories, right? Each of us carries a certain amount of privilege, And we should use that to help spread the word of exactly what really is happening, and not what, the narrative is trying to portray.
And Monica, I know we need to wrap up, but I just wanted to ask you, what is the strength of immigration, the importance of immigration in our communities? How does it build a better world, and in particular, a better Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean, I say this all the time as well, where it's like, we're a city where our population is still declining, right? Our Pittsburgh. And the only population that's growing is the immigrant population. So like, we want to have these vibrant cities, these great, main streets and different neighborhoods. They're going to rely on the immigrant community, right? And I mean, I've been here for 12 years, and when I first got here, Pittsburgh was pretty boring. I mean, and just like great things that folks bring here. And it's really nice to walk down the street and to see people that don't look like you, and to really value what they bring to our neighborhoods.
And I think that's the key word, is recognizing that everyone has value. And that's an intrinsic thing that we all possess. Thank you so much, Monica, for joining me for 5 Minutes With, and I hope we can follow up and talk about this a lot more.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
You keep on bringing in winners, Natalie. No, that was wonderful. I'm so glad you had your finger on the pulse, because I've noticed that people were there's been so much going on with COVID and every other different thing that's been happening since we started this thing, that you forget that what ICE is kind of doing currently, and how there are still kids sleeping in cages right now on the border.
Yeah, and I think it was really important to just, we had talked a little bit before, you and I, and for me, we've been talking so much about the Black Lives Matter movement and about
Correct.
Police brutality and how that impacts our communities. And this is another form of that, right? This is another form of sort of that abuse of power with this immigration policy. And like Monica said, this organization has not always been around. So there's no reason that we couldn't get to a place where we no longer need or want or find it acceptable to have ICE in existence. So it's only been 14 years.
It's been 14 years, and this was like the post 9/11 kind of a,
right. This came out of the Patriot Act. Yeah.
And then what she said was, during the Obama administration, they started doing deportations.
Yeah.
And then it basically turned into deportations on steroids, and they turned into stormtroopers essentially.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm sure, it's just a rough situation going on right there. So,
yeah, and I think
I'm glad someone locally is, bringing that to people's attention.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Casa San Jose does so much great work. And if you ever get a chance to learn about their organization, it has a fascinating history. And Monica's really an incredible person. And I think she made a really good point too, bringing up the fact that Obama had sort of started to implement this, because there is so much sort of polarization in the way that we talk about politics, and we create sort of these demigods, whether it's President Obama or President Trump. And I think it's really important that we acknowledge that people are fallible, and it's more important to follow ideas and philosophies than it is to follow people. So I think if we look at the world that way, we can recognize leadership has its downside, and we can acknowledge that people aren't perfect. And I think that's important right now, because everything, to me, everybody's either like, you either hate everything that Trump's doing, or you love everything. And there really doesn't seem to be a questioning of actually what he's doing. And I think this example with ICE being amped up to this 10.0, as she said, is an important acknowledgement that these policies are really hurting the people that we live and work with, and our friends and neighbors.
And a lot of things, there was this gray area in the way things were written. And it was like, well, we don't have to write that. Nobody's going to do that. Oh, wait.
Yeah, yes.
Maybe somebody will. But yeah, and what you said about immigration and immigrants, I mean, okay, so Hamilton was on Disney Plus this weekend.
Yes, I finally got to see it.
So I watched it. Now I missed my shot. I threw away my shot apparently at seeing it on Broadway with the original cast. I was working something in Times Square.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And it was playing, and I was going to buy a ticket when they were like $120.
Wow.
Right? They weren't like that. They weren't the $1,000 tickets.
Yeah.
No, but like I was about to buy them, and I got done with work at 7. Right. I was doing a thing for Google, and like a streaming thing, and literally the show started at 7, and I thought it started at 8.
No.
So I missed that. The first time I saw the thing was on the tour, was on the Broadway tour that came through Pittsburgh. And so watching this cast, I loved the show when I saw that.
Sure.
But the reason I'm bringing this up, I don't want to talk about Hamilton, but just the line that immigrants, we get the job done,
Right.
kind of a thing. It just kind of like rang. I was like, well, shit, yeah.
Oh yeah, and obviously I don't want to do like a thesis on Hamilton here.
Yeah, we don't have
but,
to. We don't have to. We don't
right,
have time.
but I did think it was interesting watching it post Black Lives Matter movement because, had I seen it, I think 4 years ago, I think I would have felt really differently about it. Watching it now, you recognize that there were a lot of valid critiques to have had around the play. But Lin-Manuel is an incredible lyricist, and the musicality of it was brilliant.
Yeah, I lost my mind. Watch it. I was just like, slack-jawed.
Performances.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so enough about that. Let's talk about Ask Natalie.
Yes.
And what has popped off this week?
Yeah, this week, it's been interesting because I feel like the further we get into COVID, I'm just getting so many more people are sort of settling into this new reality. And so the questions now, it's like COVID is sort of in the background of all these questions I'm getting in terms of how you relate to one another and how you get along with each other and how you sort of survive just like mentally in this place where our anxiety level is just, we're at a constant like 10 out of 10 at all times. So some of the questions have been just sort of based around that work. But I had one recently that I thought was interesting, that a mother who's in her mid 40s, she met somebody and she has 2 grown children, and she met somebody and he's in his mid 30s and they want to have a child together. And the oldest adult child was saying, she thinks this is a terrible idea. And I just thought it was an interesting question because she said, oh, I'm worried that, my mother's making a terrible decision here. She's too old to have a baby. And it's like, well, a lot of women are having children later in life now. And I don't know. I thought it was based more on the fact that she might be just a little bit jealous of the idea of her mom maybe having a second go at all of that. So just all of these different types of relationships that we're having, they're not changing in and of themselves because of COVID, but it's like everything's amped up.
Yeah, man. I feel like we're living in kind of road rage.
Yes.
Like it's kind of like, how when like you don't realize what road rage is because you're physically not supposed to be doing this.
Yes.
You're not supposed to be driving a car at 70 miles an hour next to another car that's going 75.
Yep.
You're like look in the window at somebody else and you're like, this isn't supposed to be normal.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's where road rage comes from. And I feel like we're not supposed to be, everybody's not supposed to be locked into their house and not doing anything. I mean, that's just my opinion. So
I agree. And I think that's why everybody's taking their chances doing things like going to Sandcastle and Kennywood, even though the evidence is there to suggest otherwise.
Yeah,
but I just think people are all wound up. They're wound up. And it's summer.
Well, that's what happened. A holiday happened and then we spiked.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We went green, and there should have been another color in there. I think it should have been like a 1 to 10 scale instead of a 3-part scale.
Yeah.
I feel like that's that. But hindsight, I can't Monday morning quarterback this thing. I'm sure people thought about this, but anyway.
No, it's true. I just psychologically though, I think it is weighing on everybody, and I think it's just causing a lot of strains in relationships, both romantic and otherwise. And I told somebody yesterday, you got to give people some grace and some space right now, because we all need a lot more slack than we normally give each other, including ourselves.
We'll end it with that one now.
All right.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you come up with next Friday. And check out Natalie, the advice columnist, nationally syndicated. Ask Natalie. Check that out. The things right there below me. Thank you so much, Natalie Besavenga.
Thank you.
We will see you. Have a good night. Relax a little bit.
Thanks.
All right. So that's fantastic. So Natalie's been here. She's a regular contributor. She's been here every Friday for the last 6 or 7 weeks. And, if you've been following this, the interviews are just getting better and better every time. I don't know how she can keep topping herself. But before I bring out our musical guest in about 2 seconds, I want to talk about Red Start Roasters, another one of our sponsors, Red Start Roasters. If you go to redstartroasters.com, and it's coffee roasters, obviously. They're the only bird-friendly roaster in the Pittsburgh area. You can use the code TOGETHERPGH, and they will give you 10% off your order. And they also are doing free delivery in the 412 area code. until basically we're out of this. So even though we're in green, they're still doing the free delivery. So check out Red Star Roasters. They're so bird friendly that they're selling them at the aviary, and they're going to be with us next week to talk about some new things that they have going on at Red Star Roasters. So tune in for that. But right now, there we go. That's what you'll see. There will be birds. I have a feeling there will be birds when we bring them here. But without further ado, our musical guests tonight, I actually saw them playing at Petonkatonk, and I'm just gonna let them play. And before I tell you anything about them, especially their age, this is Big Blitz. I muted myself while you guys were playing. That was awesome. What's going on, guys? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Fantastic. Well, that was awesome. You know, you don't usually see much dueling saxophones.
Yeah.
So tell me a little about yourselves, guys. I know, you know, you're not supposed to talk about your age, but so what are we talking about here? How old are you guys?
Right, well,
I'm 17.
I'm 19.
I'm also 19.
Okay.
You guys just graduated high school.
Yep.
Oh, congratulations, man.
So
Thank you.
we've officially upgraded to being a college band now, I guess.
Oh, all right, you made it. So wait, so you just graduated. How was that with online classes and stuff for your senior year?
Yeah, we
It was interesting.
yeah, it was all right. It left more time for practicing,
It did.
so that was nice.
Well, it shows,
We're off
man.
to start, I remember.
I first saw you guys playing a petanque, and you guys, I don't know if you guys were realizing, but you moved thousands of people that day. Everybody just kind of dropped what they were doing and kind of like dove in, started bobbing their heads with you guys and clapping along. So that's fantastic. So, all right, so you guys are about to be a college band. What college?
We're going, all of us are actually going to the same college. We're going to Youngstown State University in Ohio.
The Penguins.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
My father went there. So I grew up with a Youngstown State sheet on my bed.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's great, man. They'll be lucky to have you guys.
Thank you.
All right, well, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys are gonna stick around and play another song at the end of the night, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So stick around for more Big Blitz, and we're gonna remind everybody to check in and vote here, guys. We'll get with you in a minute. So be sure to vote and on the in-show poll right now to see who's going to win. Dave, let's do a little check. How are things going on the in-show poll? The pierogi race versus, I believe, St. Elmo's Fire. The Schumacher-Kurlander pick. All right. So it is looking... The pierogi race is in the lead, folks. So if you are a St. Elmo's Fire fan, get your voting right now because you have 15 minutes until we give the when we call this one. We give the whatever you call that, the letters for calling it. So anyway, check in on that. I can still hear Big Blitz in my head. They're awesome. One of my favorite bands that were at Petanque last year. So anyway, okay, get your voting in there right now. If you're watching on Facebook, you should be able to vote right away. Click right in there. It is the Pittsburgh pierogi race from the Pirate Games in the Little Jagoff versus St. Elmo's Fire. Okay, so to keep things moving along here right now, I want to remind you guys, our Venmo is tickering across the screen below me here. It's at Together PGH. If you want to kick in a buck or two, we would be very, very grateful. The money all goes to supporting tonight's artists. And you can kind of kick into them. Everything that we raise tonight will go to the artists involved with the show tonight. So even if it's $1, $2, $5, that's right, Joanne. Go Penguins! Just kick in. I know everyone's going through donor fatigue right now, but you can see exactly where every dollar goes and every dollar counts. So thank you very much. So without further ado, I want to bring out another one of our weekly contributors who always has something good to say. Is Dave Bracey ready for us here? Local Brews with Dave. What's happening, Dave? You're muted, Dave. But I could read your lips.
Am I there now?
You're muted. I said you're muted, Dave.
Oh, what's good with you, fam?
How are you, man?
I'm alive. So that's is about as much as I can say. I got some light on me, so I don't disappear this time.
That's fantastic. And you're not wearing a hat.
Yeah, it's way too hot for any kind of excessive clothing. I barely wanted to put this T-shirt on. But my taco meat is not for the public, so keep that close to the chest.
As you should. As you should. I thank you, but I don't think that our viewing public at home thanks you. I'm sure Amanda's gonna have something to say here in like 2 seconds. if she's not watching Hamilton for the 4th time, from judging from the comments. So anyway,
Yeah.
what are you drinking tonight, man? That looks dark.
It is super dark. So this got sent to me from Chicago. It's at a Revolution. It's called Revolution Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a supermassive cafe death. They didn't spell death right, which leads me to believe that whoever was doing this was half in the bag. And it's an imperial stout with coffee. It's barrel aged and brewed with it's It's barrel aged in barrels steeped with coffee, and it's a 14.8% beer, which it's a sipper. Definitely a share beer. It's not something that you want to consume an entire one yourself, unless, I mean, maybe the Rona is affecting you that badly. I mean, I don't know what your situation is. You know what I mean, like, I'm not here to judge. I'm just, in healthier situations, you would pour this with friends. I mean, this is heavier than a lot of wines that are out there. So
That's why I thought for a second you might be off-brand drinking wine.
yeah. I mean, if you put enough beer in it, then you might be able to get me to do it. So yeah, no, it's a delicious beer. It's part of a limited edition. So shout out to Revolution, those guys out there. They're the largest independent brewer out in Chicago, and they do a lot of good work in the community. So if you ever get a chance to grab some of that, do so.
Do you think it might be Deeth?
Is that what it is?
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty expensive typo.
Yeah, you got like more of a worldly, like stage like life going. So I mean, maybe you have some like interesting man like knowledge that is that how they pronounce it in, I don't know, Spain? Like it had very revolutionary. This France?
Raise that up a little bit more so I can take another look at it. There's an accent on the E, you see?
Yeah.
So it's like it's got some kind of super. Oh man, I need to get. You know what? Amanda reads a lot. Amanda, if you're watching at home, tell us what this DETH is, because I can't Google because I've got a microphone on my keyboard tonight.
Yeah, it looks mad fancy. And it looks like they want to. I mean, it looks like they want to overthrow some shit. I mean, they're called Revolution Brewing. So maybe they want to overthrow the English language.
And the letter A. All right, so go on.
Fuck the letter A. Fuck Donald Trump as well. And shout out to Mindful Brewing. So I got a couple of crowlers from them. I like Mindful Brewing. They've got probably top 10 fried chicken in the city.
Oh.
I'm saying that publicly. So but by all means, hold me to that. Go out and check it out. That Nashville Hot is slapping. I recommend that. They also got some good beer. But then they also carry like other beers, like other breweries. So, you can go there and get some food, get some Mindful Brewing, and then go shopping for a couple of other beers, both on tap and this massive cooler that they have. And they turned their spot into. They have a lot more. They're like the parking lot now. They turned that into like they put out down some of that. What is it, like that golf grass, that like mini golf grass? You know what I'm talking about? The the little putt golf grass or whatever. They threw that down there and some tables. So like now you can sit outside, and in pre-COVID times, it was a great family spot. I don't suggest you take your family outdoors these days, but when a vaccine isn't made available, it's a great place to take the family. Or stop in after work.
But outdoors is still legal.
It is. It is.
So
it's legal. And
it's less. It's less. There's less chance to get to catch this thing in the outdoors with the fresh air. I'm not saying you can't catch it. I'm just saying,
they're spaced out too. I mean, they're like the tables. I mean, they took, like you said, they made a parking lot. So like it was a huge parking lot, and they maybe got like 9 tables out there. So I mean, it's pretty spaced. Like I mean, you're not sitting close to anybody at any time. So yeah, by all means, head out there. I got this coffee Putin, which is a coffee porter. It's 9%. So I think we're on this theme here of high ABV coffee, dark beers.
I can drink that, man, but I just can't drink a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean they're not forward. I mean, again, these are beers that you should be sharing with a friend. These are beers that when you hand someone, you have to say, "Hey, that's a 9er, that's a 14." We have a rule with the drinking partners that if you hand somebody a beer, if it's 9 and over, you got to say it, because these breweries are getting crafty with with hiding this ABV. Back in the day, you used to be able to pick up a beer and know that that's about a 7%, or that's about a 9%. Now you could be drinking a 14% that tastes like an 8%, but it's really a 21%, like, because it's been aged or some bullshit. Like it's wild, man. It's crazy what they're doing with these beers. So definitely share with a friend, but also tell a friend. Friends don't let friends drink 9% unknowingly. So,
All right,
shout out to
so
them.
I've got some facts for you.
Mhm.
Pete apparently went to the Urban Dictionary and found out that DEET is a name that's used to measure radiation, like
Oh,
meters,
shit.
volts, and shizzle. Apparently, the Urban Dictionary has a quote about Megadeth as well that we also have in there. Megadeth equal, yeah. So it's like a pun.
So
So
Megadeth isn't like a mega dying. It's it's radiation. I never. You mean like
I
the band, like
I'm
Megadeth?
thinking it's the band. I don't know. I
Yeah.
could. Pete better get in there. It sounds like a bad pun with the Megadeth thing.
I don't
Yeah. Okay. Good.
know.
You just Googled the. You went to the Urban Dictionary because I did the same thing.
I just went to Google, and then that was the first thing that came up that wasn't
So
someone just saying that's a weird way of spelling death.
okay. So that's good. So we got to the bottom of that one at least. Snoop's over there, like the Sherlock Holmes of this show. Good for you.
I mean, I got nothing
Yeah,
else to do other than drink beer. So
All right.
Yeah, no, I had no idea. I was just like, death, that's cool. They're spelling it different these days. Like, it's wild.
So do you
what are you
enjoy that
drinking
beer?
over
Are you enjoying that beer? Is it a good beer?
It is. So that's the thing about it is, so with 14%, usually with like barley wines and like bigger, like, barrel aged, stouts and all that, it becomes syrupy, right? Like it's this thick kind of like, but it's actually really thin. Like the viscosity is like on a borderline porter. You know what I mean? Like, and it's an oatmeal stout. It's a 14% oatmeal stout. And it has like, I've had a lot of, 12, 13% stouts. And, typically like four ounces is about as much as you want out of that. You know what I mean? Like even that's hard, but like this is really nice. I mean, I could probably drink a whole can of it. It comes in a 12-ounce can. I could probably drink a 12-ouncer in a night. You know what I mean? After a bad day at work, just kind of sitting down with a 12-ounce of 14, But I wouldn't recommend it.
But speaking of work, what is new with Fresh Fest Digifest?
Well, the app is going to drop this week coming up. So super excited to have that. So folks are going to be able to kind of see what this fest is about. I'm like, it's weird trying to explain a concept that hasn't happened before to people over and over again. Like it just, because like it's hard to picture it in your mind until you see it. So the app is going to put a couple of things in perspective. There's some offers out there. Like if you buy a ticket, you get a free beverage from pH Experiment. They did a collaboration, a non-alcoholic kombucha with a social advocacy group out in Washington called Exit the Maze. So if you buy a ticket, you get a free, you get some free kombucha from them shipped to your door. We've also got some small business workshops for folks to sign up to. We're working with a couple of breweries on some other low-key secretive things coming out. And yeah, I mean, tickets, schedule, artist profiles, breweries, all kinds of things on the app. And it's, keep your pockets fresh with the Fresh Fest app. I mean, or something like that. We're still working on the tag.
Okay, so I got something for you. So when was the first Fresh Fest?
So first Fresh Fest was 2018.
2018. So this would be year 3. Right?
Yeah, it'll be.
So you were grooving up, ready to kind of build on what you had been doing for the first 2 years, and now what I'm noticing is the second you decide to turn this into the DigiFest, right? You're coming up with new stuff every day. So this thing is evolving. You're adding and adding and adding and adding. It's kind of exciting to see it happen, man.
Well, I mean, that's the beauty of Fresh Fest is that it's really a community project. So, we come up with a couple of ideas as a basis. We have a platform, and then we have a lot of talented friends and associates that like will reach out and say, "Hey, I'm good at this," or "I have this idea or this connection. Do you think you can use it?" And like usually we can. Like, we have this virtual tap room. Secret Hopper reached out and was like, "Hey, we built this virtual tap room. Figured you'd have a virtual festival. Maybe you want to use it on there." And we're like, "What? You just solved our Zoom problem." Like, somebody was like, "Hey, I got a friend that works over at Tavor. Wondering if you wanted to talk to them." Like, what? Yeah, now you solved our nationwide beer shipping problem. Like, it's just, we don't come up with these ideas. The community does, and that's how the first 2 festivals started. And some of the best part of Fresh Fest is watching it grow. watching those announcements. And with the app, you're going to be able to get that. So like when collabs drop, those will be thrown on the apps for folks to kind of like, check out, whenever, acts are added. And then, even after the festival, whenever we're putting together various events, you can check those out through the app as well. Keep the community going in between festivals, because the work is much more in depth than any 9-hour festival can encapsulate. So super excited to have that. Shout out to Work Hard Digital for developing that app. Again, they were just like, so we got an app if you want to use it. We're like, what? Of course. So shout out to those guys for developing that, and look out for that. You can get it at freshfestdigifest.com this week.
Well, you have something to do with it too, man. You got an infectious personality. People want to like join. You got a like nice leadership thing. So Fresh Fest Digifest, it's got a good core, and then from that point on goes from there.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate
Sure
that.
thing. You need to get your car waxed a little bit every now and then. Just got to remember that you're the man behind the thing there. So, but before we wrap up, Pete, what are you drinking?
Right now, I took Dave's notes a couple weeks ago. I got the 4 Points, 4th Street Pale Ale. So I've been getting back into the Pale Ales and the IPAs lately. So yeah, I got that. Picked that up at Carson Street Deli the other day.
Yeah, shout out to Carson Street, also sponsors. And we built Fresh Fest at Carson Street. That was like our war room for the last 3 years. Super good guys down there. And 4 Points is knocking it out of the park with those IPAs, man. It is scarily good, like how fast those things came out of there.
Cool.
Yeah, it's tasty. I'm also drinking.
Oh my God.
I got the Dancing Gnome, whose beers I was not into before, but I've gotten into recently. And I also have
Jesus, Pete. Pete, do you have a problem?
What is that round?
This is the Tangerine.
Ooh.
Yeah, Orbit.
I could drink
That's
that.
the Brewers. That's the Brewers brewer. Like, Steve, that's the brewer. Like, if you know. Like, Roundabout is internationally known, locally respected out here, man. Like, that's a good. And he's always got a nice, like, diversity in his tap. Like, you're not gonna see a lot of, what is that? A wheat peach ale or something like that. What was that? A tangerine.
It's a tangerine wheat pale ale.
Yeah, see, I've never heard those combination of words before. That's
Pete, show the can again, because Amanda was into it.
Shit.
I don't think that's the can she wanted to see.
That is some good beer there, man. He's always got a good tap list down there.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And shout out to my wife, because she ordered a case of beer from them yesterday. It's like, I ordered a little bit of beer. Could you go pick it up? And I showed up, and there was like 24 beers. I was like, oh shit, and Leona. So I was like, yeah,
that's love.
Never mad at that.
That's love.
That's how you keep a relationship fresh. I know, if all the ladies out there listening, if the ladies are listening, I mean, we like beer and sometimes solitude. That's all good. I mean, we could be alone together.
In other rooms.
In other rooms, together from afar.
From afar, we could, if you want to hit up on FaceTime or something, just let me know you're still here. We can do that. We can quarantine each other for no apparent reason. Like everything all right? How's your Wi-Fi?
Distance makes the heart grow fonder, man. I mean, we got to remember that in these pandemic times, So, get your man a 4-pack and a closet space,
and a smile.
And true.
A 4-pack and a smile. A closet.
Before I go,
sure thing, buddy.
We are still looking for artists, and we are paying. We're paying well. I mean, it's not a bad rate. So, if you are a Black artist in the area and you like money, we are paying you to perform at this festival. If you like money and national attention, hit us up at freshfestdigifest.com, man. We need you.
All right.
Awesome.
There it is. Right there.
We should talk.
Okay.
Some people.
I don't know why I ain't hit up Pete already. Yeah, I'm about to. Yeah. Let's talk, Pete. I ain't didn't talk to you. I forgot you, the man.
I know a couple people.
I apparently only know you two.
You're the most interesting man alive, man.
Not since I shaved, man. Not since I shaved. When the beard was a little more full, I was leaning towards that, but that's all. But anyway, cool. Dave, thanks so much. If anything, if anything comes up, let us know, and we'll see you next Friday, hopefully.
Yeah, I'll be here, man. Take it easy, stay safe, man. Mask up, and fuck Donald Trump.
All right.
Fuck Trump.
Words to live by. All right. Thank you, Dave Bracey. And Fresh Fest, DigiFest, you can't get enough of it. I mean, go there, get that app, get rolling. It's just too cool. I can't explain it. So, Pete,
what's up?
Do you have anything to get off your chest, sir, before I bring back Big Blitz to send us home?
I'm just happy to be home. I decided to take those lightwater dinghies out to West Newton today, and we got off the river. We floated down the Yacht. We biked up like 4 miles, inflated our dinghies, floated down. Excuse me, and as soon as we got loaded the car and started driving back, it was like a monster.
Well, at least you made it back, and you weren't just kind of floating downriver when that thing hit on those little dinghies that have been known to spring a leak.
Jumping out of the car, inflating those things, and heading down. It was beautiful, though. Got to thank Dave Mansueto for the tip.
Yeah, but you've had some leaks.
I mean,
we can get into that.
But you know what? I've got leaks in 2 of my. I own 3. 2 of them have leaks. I know this is boring as shit for most people.
For all people, Pete. But go on.
But those rafts still held for almost 4 hours on the river without really having any problems. So it's...
You had a leak, and then you stayed on the river for 4 hours.
Yep.
Hey, Pepper.
And I put my wife and child in that ones with the leak.
Well, that's love. That's love. Okay, so we've got leaky tips from Pete Spinda. That's not mine. That's Amanda's. I did not come up with that one. That's cool. So I wanna bring out Big Blitz, but I want to say hello to my nieces and my nephew Jordan, Mac, and Georgia, who are watching tonight and might have heard some language. But you know what I mean. They're cool to get that. But why don't you bring out Big Blitz and kind of because you kind of brought them to my attention through Patonkatonk.
Well, Big Blitz they popped on my radar probably like 4 or 5 years, 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago.
When they were 12?
No, probably 15, 16.
Okay.
They came out, they played Patonkatonk, and they played Weather Permitting a few times, and they're always getting, so much better. And actually, we should just bring them out, have them play, and maybe we could talk to them on the other side.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Hey,
guys, you got one more for us. We're in your fan club here, but let's see what you got cooking up for the next song here. We'll talk to you on the other side of it. What do you say?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll see you in a bit.
All right.
Just the mic here.
All right.
Yeah, you guys need 1,000 people around you for that in a socially distant situation. I loved it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, guys. Okay. So, how did you meet and who's related?
Right. So, we actually all went to the same school together. We're all from Burrell High School, and yeah, we're now all officially graduated from Burrell High School.
Yes.
And yeah, we said this a little earlier, but now we're all going to be at Youngstown State University together. So we just can't leave each other alone.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We were in school bands together, and we did some honors bands together, and then just being around each other and that, and eventually we were like, well, I guess we just got to get together and jam, and then here we are.
It also helps that Mason and I are brothers.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we've known each other for quite a long time.
Now, okay. So, how'd you decide to pick up the saxophone, brothers?
I think it's like our dad. He played a lot when we were kids, and
Sax?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got one a couple years before me, and then I heard you playing it too, and I was like, I want to play. So then I picked it up too.
Yeah. Yeah, we grew up listening to a lot of jazz, Miles Davis and John Coltrane and Charlie Parker.
Yeah.
And the kind of cool thing is Nick, with the drums, he has like a kind of rock approach to them because, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with a lot of jazz. I grew up with a lot of like the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, The Who, and stuff like that.
Those are good things to grow up with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a question, and it's totally random, but it's based on what you just said. So does your dad ever jam with you guys?
It has happened. I think, right?
I think it happened once.
Wait, 3 saxophones?
Yeah, it happened before.
Yeah, I think
he was playing something.
I
don't know.
I think so. I think he was fooling around on the soprano, and he came downstairs while we were practicing. I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I just got a notification yesterday of the Funky Dog show we did at Salem's, where you guys opened up, and then you ended up jamming with them. And I think, Nick, you even jumped on the sax too, right?
I did, yeah.
We're teaching him some stuff. He's picking it up.
Oh my
that's
God.
incredible. That's awesome.
I think I also did a scat solo.
Oh, I remember that, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
If you could figure out a way just to, keep a little bit of the drums going while playing the saxophone, because the drummer from Def Leppard did it all with his feet. So I think you might be able to figure that out and play the horn at the same time, and you've got yourself a gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does the 2 saxophones at the same time, and I'll.
Yeah.
I've seen that too. That's pretty impressive.
You guys are killing me.
So what do you guys? What else? So you guys have any records out? Like, let's let the people know what's going on.
And how can people get your music?
Mason, you want?
Yeah, so we got one EP out right now. It's a couple years old, and it's pretty good. You should give it a listen. It's on like Spotify, Apple Music, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We just released a single, I think like a couple months ago.
Yeah, we released it like a month ago, and then we've got we just put it on all streaming platforms about a week or 2 ago, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all that stuff. If you want to stream it, you can stream it on pretty much anything. But as far as helping us through that goes, I'd say the best option is Bandcamp. We have it all up on there, and they just take the lowest cut when it comes down to it.
Well, speaking of cuts, everybody hit up this Venmo here at Together PGH. The money's going to go to the artist like Big Blitz from the show tonight. So if you can, get in there on Venmo. We're also on PayPal on Together PGH. But enough about that. Okay, so go ahead, Pete.
I was going to say, before we wrap up, what else do you guys have going on right now?
We just recorded 2 secret EPs, which are
they're in the works. We've been recording we recorded them for a while and mixed them for a while, and then the whole pandemic happened, and that kind of threw us off. But yeah.
Coming soon.
2 EPs in the works.
Yes.
Is there a way for people to buy direct from you without having to go through Bandcamp or anything like that?
Yeah, we have bigblitzband.com/store.
Yeah, on our website, Big Blitz Band.
Great.
I think we have CDs available. We don't have digital downloads, but that goes through Bandcamp right now.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I got a note here. You guys are starting a weekly YouTube show? Is that what you? Was
Yeah,
is
we
that
just
how-
kind of did our first live stream last night, live from the living room. Yeah, we think it's gonna be our way to keep ourselves out there and give some people some music, hopefully some joy and happiness and just a fun time during these times and having to stay inside all the time. You sit down with a snack, cold drink, and listen to some music. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So is that going to be weekly, or like what day, what time, when should people be looking for that?
Yeah, we're thinking Thursdays. We did it at 9 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
So yeah, live on Thursdays.
It's kind of still in the works, but I'd say, check us out. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter. If we make any plans to do anything, it's on there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Cool.
yeah.
All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
Well, thank you guys so much. And you guys, Youngstown is lucky to have you guys. You can rock a party.
Thank you.
Maybe.
And thank you so much to you guys for having us on here.
Oh man, I mean, if you guys are still around, we might try to have you guys on again sometime. So.
We're not doing much.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, neither are we. So, well, thank you guys so much, and good luck at Youngstown State. Congratulations on graduating, and keep it going. Check these guys out at BigBlitzBand.com. Remember, you saw them here.
Yeah.
Good night, guys.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We've come to the end of our show. I think we earned going over these few minutes, but we've got to take care of some things, Pete. One of the things that we have to take care of is the in-show poll. Who won?
Ooh.
It was
You need me to do that,
it was the
Dave?
pierogi race versus St. Elmo's Fire, and the pierogi race squashed St. Elmo's Fire. Okay, I'm a sauerkraut Saul guy, but Oliver Onion, he's still got it for me. What's the lady's name? The pierogi. Anyway, I'm always sauerkraut
Sally
Saul.
Cabbage or something. I don't know.
It's not Sally Cabbage, and your wife is going to be very disappointed in you for not knowing. But all right, folks, thank you for voting on that. And something big for you, the weekend poll. Let's just tell the Engine House 25 Winery weekend poll, the big jag-off. Let's see what we got, Pete. What do they have in store for this round 2 showdown? Dave, talk to me.
There once was a king who lived in a small, tiny castle on a small, tiny television show in a small, tiny town of Pittsburgh, PA. That king has to go against another word known colloquially as Nebby, meaning Nebby.
Wow, Dave, you really put some thought into that one. So King Friday the 13th from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, who stunned the world by beating Daniel Striped Tiger in round 1, is going up against Nebby, who I believe Nebby beat Jaggerbush. So there you go, folks. The Pittsburghese word Nebby, which you know what that means, going up against everybody's favorite king from the land of make-believe, King Friday the 13th.
He ain't Nebby. He's my brother.
Okay. You just made up for
He's
everything.
a Neb shit.
You just made up for everything, Dave, with that right there. You know what? It caught. Sometimes I get caught by surprise, and that did. Well, we've come to the end of the show here. We've got a great show lined up for you next week. You can't beat who we've got lined up for you. It's all new guests, and then our 2 regular contributors with Day and Natalie on Friday. But it's going to be exciting. Apparently, we have a film club that we are going to watch The Rocket Man and Nightcrawler and talk about it at some point in the week whenever our tech drops and we lose a guest. So that is happening that we talked about last night.
Or maybe we'll do a Monday Night Mess. Who knows?
Oh yeah, maybe we'll do a Monday Night Mess. Who knows? The point is you don't know.
And this is everybody's homework. They have to so the viewers out there, they also so they can chime along in with this film club.
Patrick, did you ever figure it out?
Figure what out?
What that's from?
I didn't look at it twice. I just assumed it was from Rocket Man, but it could be from Mad Max. What is it?
It's from Fight Club.
It's from Fight Club. Oh gosh, you know what?
They make soap in Fight Club, and I was like, "Oh, Film Club looks like Fight Club."
Oh, that. I thought you were talking about what was on my my
Well,
head.
then
was
I
on.
put your head on Brad Pitt. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was my body. I was just so confused. David Fincher's Fight Club. Wonderful thing, and that's what Fight Club. That's what my Fight Club would look like. That's, if I made Fight Club, that's basically what it would be. But it would be Mr. T now. Not in wicked in shape, Mr. T. It would be kind of older Mr. T. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap up this weekend. Week 17 in the books. A round number comes on Wednesday with number 60, man. We've been at this for 17 weeks. 3 to 4 shows a week for 17 weeks to round out to 59. Please, I don't want... Just one more thing. Let's not backslide, folks. Let's kick this in gear. Let's take this stuff seriously. Wear the mask. Give the distance. Give respect to people. Don't start a fight with somebody because they ask you to put a mask on in their place of business. Or if you're going to do some work, like if there's a delivery service. I know my sister got a cabinet delivered, or a dresser delivered, and literally the guys wouldn't wear masks. So like it's like they didn't want to wear masks to come into the house to drop the thing off. So it's just like just put the mask on. Just it's not even if it's hot outside, it's not that hot. You can wear a mask. Tom Hardy did it when he played Bane. You can do it.
And stay away from the poly shades. They just don't blend well. Like they don't really like seep in like normal wood stain does. It doesn't really give you that good finish. Like it's a mess. It's drippy. It's gooey.
Pete, you really
right.
think you're
It's
funny?
really-
I was being serious. You're talking about staining a deck again.
I was being serious too. I learned a big lesson this past couple weeks making these shelves. I doesn't have the same effect.
Well, there you go, folks. If you were looking to get nudged in the right direction on something that might save your or somebody else's life, or if you're staining your deck, wait a couple of weeks before you put that water seal on it.
No, you don't wait a couple. Yeah, well, you definitely have to wait a few weeks after you get the pressure.
You turned into Forrest Gump. What is going on?
But the poly shade's just not. It's not good. Just spend the extra time, get the shade.
Speaking of spending extra time, we will see everybody next week, and we're gonna have a new segment called Pete's Deck Adventures, and we're gonna see what deck he's working on now, because he's branched out. He's not just building decks for himself. He's turning into an entrepreneur, if you will.
It's true. I'm about to reseal a few other decks, and one of the things I've learned about working in this.
No, keep going. Keep going. Just keep talking. Dave, don't cut him off. Let's see how long he wants. I'm just kidding. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Remember what Bruce Springsteen says?
Put on a fucking mask.
Yeah, Amanda, it does suck. I don't know why they sell the polyurethane with the stain in it. It doesn't. They don't like marry. They don't. It's like oil and vinegar. It doesn't go together. It needs to be separated and done individually. Um, One of the biggest mistakes I made was trying to use the poly shades, and it doesn't look good. Like you need 2 or 3 coats before it even really sits in there, and gets a good coverage. But then you can kind of see the layers, and you got to sand between each layer and wait for it to dry. And it's way too humid outside to mess with the polyurethane right now. You really need like a dry, air conditioned space. But then, air conditioning and COVID, they don't go, hand in hand. I guess it all depends on where you're at. But yeah. And then Laura, I'll hit you up next week. We'll come out and we can take a look at what you want to do there, whether or not it's building a deck or restaining a deck. I looked at 2 decks today. One's a beautiful deck. It's new pressure treated wood, next to a deck with old pressure treated wood. So what you've got to do is you've got to pressure wash that old deck, get it back to new, get a nice finish on it. But you got to be careful when you're pressure washing, because if you turn your pressure washer up too high, the wood will start to splinter, and then it's just nasty. Like it gets nasty, and then you have to go back and sand it down and make sure it's yeah. Send a picture. I would love to see a picture of what happened, your poly disaster. I really don't believe that polyurethane is the best seal for most wood, products. I think like for floors it makes sense, but for shelves probably not, right? You probably don't even need any type of real like sealing component. You could probably stick with a stain. Thompson's makes a pretty good product. I've been a big fan of their their clear finish is good. It holds up for a year. You only have to do 1 coat. I definitely probably want to pressure wash that deck. You can see there's only one new piece, like a piece of new pressure treated wood on the right there, and then one up on the other board. And this whole coaster probably could have used a good. I bet if they would have pressure washed it and sealed it, people would have thought differently of it, and Kennywood might have changed their decision on whether or not to keep it, as a roller coaster. It's a real damn shame they tore that down. And they didn't even build the steel curtain right. When I was there last year for the Pierogi Festival, it was already sheared a bolt, which makes me skeptical of whether or not to ride it. They closed it, a month after they opened it because it sheared a bolt. And, those bolts, they're not, we're not talking Home Depot grade bolts. But anyway, back to decks and wood. Patrick, are you here? Do you want to talk more about this? Dave, we have Patrick on hand.
Patrick made a break for it.
Oh, he did. Patrick's got a lot of woodworking in his house. He might want to be here for this, because he might want to talk, about some of the experiences he's had with staining and sealing his wood. But I missed that ride. It's a good ride. Dave, I feel like we could get that same effect with those lightweight dinghies on the right rapids.
Oh, you bet your life on it. I'm ready. It is time.
There are a couple little ripply areas if you go up to West Newton. That's what we did today. We went to West Newton, and we rode the bikes up to Cedar Creek, and then inflated our dinghies, and then we floated down. It was a nice ride. I mean, it took 30 minutes to bike to Cedar Creek, and we were biking slow because we had the dogs and everything. But then it took about 3.5 hours, 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours to get back. So it's a nice ride. I mean, it's super chill. Hey, Sarah.
Maybe if they shut down Kennywood again, we can get authorization to go in there and shoot exclusive Kennywood ride footage. You know what I mean?
Did you see Jacob Chachi's video? He was posting a video the other day, and he had there was this clip of like all teddy bears on roller coasters. It was amazing. All right. If people have questions, I'm welcome. I'm open to talking more about stains and seals. I'm real excited. I'm going to be installing some shelves tomorrow. I hope to be working on 2 or 3 more decks this summer. Just be careful of the poly shades. You might save a few bucks in the long run and a few hours of time, but it actually ends up costing you more time, because I've doubled my time on these shelves because I thought poly shades, oh great, I get the stain and the poly in one, but then I realized like they're 2 totally different properties and they don't really work well. So yeah, fuck poly shades. Fuck Donald Trump. Put on a fucking mask. Good night.